a shame we're like born within our family. Hopefully not everybody's family, but like in my family.
Brooke, it is just wonderful to chat with you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I honestly, Cramps, a period piece is so funny. It is so off the wall. And let's get this out of the way now. I'm a man. And so there's a certain element of disconnection that I have. So but but it really is a fun film. Where did it come from?
So it actually the story came from my real life experience of having endometriosis, which I mean from when I was a teenager up until like when I was 40, I basically was in pain for most of my life and not being able to live it. It kind of was like a creature eating me from the inside. And even though I go to doctors, they couldn't help me. They didn't know what it was back then, and so it took a long time to diagnose even. And then I was a waitress for 20 years of my life because I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't have a real job. I wanted to go to college and everything, so it was just kind of like a an entity taking over my life, and nobody could see it. And no matter what I did, it was just kind of I give up. So in the process of finally getting mad enough to figure out what the hell's going on with me, I finally got into filmmaking, which it was a complete pipe dream since I was a kid. I always wanted to make a horror movie, and I got to make about 8 short films. And by the time I got to finally ready for my feature, the story I was going to tell, which came from a joke, was saying, "What if there was a period piece about actual periods?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, 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 yeah. This is it. This is what we're gonna do. This is a story I want to tell, because it's such a huge part of my existence. So that's where it came from."
Well, I want to talk to you about it being a period piece because I do think that's interesting, but I want to go with something first. I was going to ask it later, but since you brought it up, you talk about not getting diagnosed. Is this what we see too with the frustration? Because we have this male doctor specifically who just keeps everything cold and clinical. He doesn't seem to care. But then as she steps into this other woman's different style of medical facility, if you will, there's more compassion. I was wondering, was that what inspired that sort of tension?
Absolutely. Even the male doctor represents like not just a male doctor, but even the female doctors that I've been to were just
Mm.
it seemed like know they weren't they didn't know what was going on, because not a lot of gynecologists are actually well versed in endometriosis even to this day. There's still like a lot of like uh, doctors that just don't know. Like I didn't even know what it was when I had it. I had never heard of it. So like it's this thing where you go to this doctor and you're trying to tell them, something's happening with me, and they're like, "Well, I mean, I've done all I can. So here, take some birth control. If you can't handle the pain, don't know. I can't help you." So that was just kind of like how it was until I finally my mother-in-law recommended this doctor, this last doctor I went to. And I think like she was very well versed, and now it's she's even just taking surgeries specifically to help women. And she was just night and day compassionate, wanted to help me, knew what was going on, checked me thoroughly, and like really really tried to help me, and just made me feel important enough to where like this person is going to help me no matter what. So yeah, that's the she was the Dr. Dolly of it all.
I love that. I love that because you can just sense how much compassion is in those eyes with Dr. Dolly and just how she's willing to work with her through this process. And um, but going back to the style here, I was wondering, like I mean, there's a very retro feel to this. It feels like it stepped out of the I want to say 60s, but it might have been the late 60s, early 70s. What inspired that with you? What inspired that when you were making the film?
So I wanted I wanted it to be like my short film that we made before this, Violet Butterfield, Makeup Artist for the Dead. So we that was the first film that we shot on film on 16 millimeters because we wanted it to be that kind of dream-like Technicolor world. But it's very much mostly 1960s aesthetic, but it's an actual ambiguous time period because there's 50s, there's 70s kind of, so that you can't actually pinpoint the time. So
Yeah.
like in the way that they speak, they kind of have a little modern dialogue mixed in with 60s dialogue kind of feel. So it's kind of like its own Twilight Zone world that I wanted to create, where there's no rules because I don't like rules and I don't like to be technical about things. I just want to do like make this world that I see in my head. And like although it's 1960s, I don't add any pop culture or anything to
Yeah.
pinpoint any years or anything like that. I don't want to date the stuff. So the movies. So I just want to make this own world that just feels 1960s dreamlike. And that came from a lot of like films like Daisies or Peeping Tom is like a big inspiration for like the way it looks and stuff like that. I love those old films that are just dreamy. What is it? Oh, I can't remember the name of the. It was like these people are sleeping and they're in their dreamland and they just want to eat something. I can't remember the name of that movie. It was just like a the discreet bourgeoisie. I can't. I'm
Discreet charm of the bourgeoisie.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. I love that movie. It's so weird. So weird. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's where it all came from.
it really adds to the feel of the film, which is just, like it adds to the horror aspect. I don't know. It was there was something so unique about it that I enjoyed. Um, I wanted to ask you too, if I can ask this, of the the conversations around periods and all of these things. Like this is a there's we see, and maybe I'm just, this is where the male part of me was as I stumble over my words. I want to say this well, um, but there can be a shame about talking about periods in general. And that's in this film with these characters. There's you don't want to talk to anybody, but when they do, it sort of helps. I was wondering, why in your mind is there this stigma for something that just is natural? It's just part of everyday life.
That's the whole thing that I guess like I grew up in a house. I had a mother and a sister and an older sister, so they've been through it before. But when I had my period, it was like I couldn't talk about it, so I didn't know how to do anything. Like I just had to figure it out. And so also, if I can't talk to my family, my own family, I was sure not going to talk to other people like outside of my house and my friends and stuff. So I just felt like I couldn't say anything ever. My mom never took me to the doctor or anything like that. I didn't, my, one of my friends actually took me to the gynecologist for the first time in my 20s because I had never gone. She's like, what? That's weird. Why? Really? You haven't been to the gynecologist? It's just crazy. And I didn't realize how crazy that was, and especially going through so much pain and everything. And like my mom would have to come pick me up at school and stuff like that because I'd be like drooling all over my desk because I was in so much pain and stuff. It was just
Mm.
so strange, and she still wouldn't take me to the doctor. It just it's because of this shame. Like it's such a shame. We're like born within our family. Hopefully not everybody's family, but like in my family, I always felt this shame, and it went with me throughout my adult life. And so which yeah, it shouldn't be. It's a natural thing, and it's not even like just here. It's worldwide. It's in all cultures that you're just women are shamed for something they can't even control that they're born with. So it's crazy. And I wanted to put that in the movie, is like, is this how you see periods, that they're gross and monsters and you don't want to deal with it kind of thing. So yeah.
No, I love that about the film because I'm one who believes that these are topics that should be more easily able to be discussed, you know? And I think that a film like this does take us a long way in terms of getting those conversations started and trying to relieve that shame from these things because like you said, it's everywhere. And this is something that every woman deals with. So I really do appreciate the chance to chat with you. I see we're running out of time, and I just Brooke, thank you so much. It's a joy to speak with you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You for sure.